Now that we have our two variables, we're going to use them to determine which car to clone and which lane to send them down. Okay, so what we can do here is here under backdrops, let's call the event when backdrop switches to desert. And remember, when we first programmed our game, we had it pixelate and then pixelate into the desert, right? So that took a few seconds from the time it switched to desert to the time that we broadcast start game and want cars to come down the road. That took a second or two. So right here, when we switch backdrop to the desert, I'm going to wait. So under control, we can wait for maybe 2 seconds. I think that's plenty of time. And then we're going to forever loop. Okay. And in the forever loop, we're going to set the which car to its first value. Okay. And which car is going to possibly be 0 for the red car, 1 for the black car, 1 for the black truck, 2 for the black car, and 3 for the blue car. So how are we going to do that? Well, under data, we could say set variable 2. Okay. Under operators, we could say pick random. And we're going to randomly pick a number from 0 to 3. And that's going to set which lane. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, not which lane, which car. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing for the lanes. And coincidentally, we have 4 lanes and 4 cars. Right? So the red car is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, and the lanes are also 0, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to set which lane to a random number from 0 to 3. Okay. And one thing you want to notice here is that in computer science, we always start counting at 0. Right? Did you ever wonder why I say the 0 lane, the 0 car, the 1 car, the 2 car? I always start counting at 0. And the reason for that is computer scientists always start counting at 0. Right? Something that you're going to notice if you continue studying coding, that we don't waste the 0. We start with the 0. Okay. Okay. So we generated our random numbers for the car and the lane, and now we need to make a decision. So I'm going to go to control, and I'm going to say if, and if which car and which lane, right? So I'm going to say and are equal to. So if which car is equal to 0, which means we want the red car, and which lane is equal to 0, which means we want the first lane. If both of those are true, and that's what we generated here, then what we want to do, let me make some room. What we want to do is to broadcast a signal to the red car. So I can go to events, and I could broadcast a signal. That's going to be a new message. And I'm going to say red _ 0, okay, and say OK. Now this broadcast is going to say, OK, red car, make a clone and send him down lane number 0. Okay, so we send out the broadcast. Now when we're at the red car, we need to change this to not do this. We need the event to happen to be when I receive red 0. And when I do receive red 0, I'm going to create a clone of myself. And you could say when I start as clone, we can have an if statement here as well. And we could have the same if statement, right? We could have if which car is equal to 0 and which lane is equal to 0, then that means I need to make myself, if we started as clone, we know that which car is equal to 0. Okay, so when we're here start as clone, all we need to say is if which lane is equal to 0. That's the only question we really need to ask. And if which lane is equal to 0, then we want to do this. okay, and create a car in the 0 lane. Now let's go ahead and play the program and see if it works. And we'll know if it works if this is 0 and this is 0, and it creates a red car that comes down the first lane. And so I'm going to go ahead and unplug these other cars so that they don't work. And I'm going to keep track of which car in which lane. And when there's 0 and 0, I want to see this red car come down. Oh my gosh, that's happening so fast I can't even tell if it's working correctly. So we're going to come back over here, and this forever loop does iterate very fast, right? It does repeat itself very fast. So I'm going to go to control and put in a wait 1 second in there and run it again. But it looked like it was working. So when it's 0, 0, a red car should come down the 0 lane. So it's 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 0, 1. When it's 0, 0, a red car should come down the first lane. So it's taking a while, but it will happen. Let's wait for it. There we go. 0, 0, and the red car comes down the 0 lane. And that's what we want.